my destiny.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Black Book Podcast. Today we have an amazing guest. I'm so happy that she came on my show. Here we have Dr. and let's put a capital D, capital R on that, Dr. Leeza Gordon. Please welcome her. So, Leeza, can you first just state, where you're from and what you're doing and like how you got here and stuff like that?
Wow, okay. So my name is Dr. Leeza Gordon. Leeza Gordon, either one is fine. I'm from the UK and I've been in China now for around 4 years. So I'm going into my 4th year. I was trying to go home, but now we have COVID. So I don't know if the universe is saying that I need to stay here for a little longer. But
Right.
I'm here. And what was your other question, sorry?
Just where you're from. Oh, did you say where you're from?
Mm. Yeah, I'm from the UK.
UK. Where in the UK?
A small city called Nottingham. So when I was in the UK, right, every time I went outside of my home city, I used to tell people, oh yeah, I'm from Nottingham. Nobody knew where it was. And then I've come abroad and then I say to people, oh, I'm from Nottingham. And they're like, oh, I know that place. So I don't know, maybe some people.
Nottingham. I don't really know much about Nottingham, but I feel like Nottingham may be popular because of a TV show that mentioned Nottingham before. It might be an American show. Don't quote me on that. I feel like that was the first time I heard of Nottingham because that's not a place you hear about in the UK.
Are you sure it's not Notting Hill? Because sometimes people get confused with Notting Hill, and Notting Hill is in London, but where I'm from is the Midlands. So if you think of Robin Hood, that robbed from, you never had Robin Hood when you was growing up?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we know Robin Hood.
Gave to the poor. He was from Nottingham, and what else? We have a football team.
Oh, that's probably why. Yeah, I was like Nottingham from Robin Hood. Yeah. So that's probably what I was thinking of because that's the only thing I can think of from Nottingham.
I'm sure we have many other things, but those are the 2 main ones that people would know.
All right. So you're Dr. Leeza Gordon. Can you tell us what is your PhD in?
My PhD is in leadership. That's all that can start and stay. So it just talks about like going into like organizational leadership and all those different types of interesting things.
Okay. All right. So have you worked for different companies before in a leadership role, or you're trying to make a leadership role out of something?
I've never ever wanted to work for anybody else in my whole entire life. I left home at 15, and then I put myself through school, university, college, did all those kind of things. Still doing my PhD, and every time I've tried to work for someone else, it's just not worked out for me. Do you know what I mean? So now I'm just answering my calling to work for myself, and I always feel like I've spent a lot of time trying to sit at a table or beg to sit at a table and go into places where people will look at me in a certain way. Maybe it's my insecurities, I don't know. But then I got to a point where I'm tired of begging others to see me. So everything I have now, I just create for myself, because I think that's one thing about people, that creative people, we're able to create. We don't need to beg anybody for anything. I have my own training program where I do teach leadership. So I do my own thing. I don't really work for.
Okay.
I tried. Didn't work out for me.
So how long have you been working for yourself?
So maybe I would say I started my first business when I was at university. Okay. So around about maybe 10 years, I can say that I've started to have my own thing. So I had little things, they worked out, didn't work out, trial and error. And then when I came to China, I worked for a company, tried. And then I set up my own business. So for about 4 years here in China, been legal now for 2 years, registered and all that kind of good stuff, right? So I can work with other people. For 2 years in China now. But still from time to time, you know, when things aren't going and I have to go out and get a job, I do those things and then come back to what I'm supposed to
do. Okay. So yeah, I want to ask you about you working for yourself in China, because as a foreigner, that's not very normal. Most foreigners work for a big company or a small school teaching English or something like that, and that is not what you're doing. So I want to know, how is that? How'd you get started?
So when I first came over here, I worked for, I don't know if I can say the company, but I worked for DE, Disney English.
Oh.
And when I first started,
Yeah.
but I told you, I love my first year. My first year felt like, you know, spring break. Like, it just, that was my first year. So it
That
was
was my
amazing,
first year
right?
too. Yeah.
And then I was only meant to stay a year, but everybody back home was like, Leeza, you're not coming back. And even if you do, you'll go somewhere else. I was like, no, I'm coming back. I'm only going to do 1 year, right? 4 years later still. So I started to work with them, that's how I got over here initially. Okay. And then everybody was like, oh, the parents are not going to like you because you're black and you're not going to get anywhere, blah, 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 blah. So I was like, okay, cool. So within maybe 1 year, I was promoted quite quickly, Disney trainer, SFT, and then I went on to be like the acting language learning director. And then I was like, well, if I'm working so hard for someone else, why don't I just go out to work for myself? But I still had my brand, I was still building my brand, and I was like working, doing my brand, and then obviously working for Disney English. And then it was just like, okay, it's time, because it got to a point where I was just like, I was getting angry, and I thought I was getting angry because it was like, you know, like it was the boss's fault. But really, I was getting angry because I wasn't doing what I was designed to do. I was like in a job, I didn't like the job. Obviously, when I did my job, I turned up on time and like I did do what I'm supposed to do, but I was like, I don't want to be here. And then I've left my family, I gave up my house, a good like lifestyle to come here. So I did a lot of sacrifices to be here. And then I was like, well, if I'm going to just be here and do the same thing that I do back at home, what's the point? I might as well go home. So this is when I started to be more serious about working for myself here. Okay. And it's very easy as well. Like when I started, you just have to you had an idea. And then as soon as I made up my mind, like this is what I wanted to do, I started to, it didn't happen magically, but people started to come into my life and like the opportunities came. So
okay.
Pretty much it.
all right. So I mean, for your leadership training course, who are your students or your clients?
So initially when I started, I was aiming for like the Chinese market. Okay. And then I think culturally, I don't know how, I need to be careful how I say this. Culturally, I just don't feel like they're ready for that. So then I had to switch and go online. So now I do a lot of coaching online. So I've managed by not just focusing, because I was like focusing on one job, like even my Performing Arts Academy, they are able to give to young kids, but after a certain age, they might need something, but they might not want it, and then there's a lot of excuses. So I think by branching and going online, I've managed to attract ladies that are really interested in wanting to become unstuck, so to speak, and take control of their life and live the lives that they want to live. So I've managed to catch the people that are ready to take those steps. So.
Okay. All right. So it was mostly.
So it's more mainly a foreign. I would say it's not mainly
foreigners.
directed at the Chinese. It's more directed at a foreign market.
Okay, and so, like, what's the type of like impact you have like on the customers you have or the students? I don't know what you call them. Like afterwards,
So
what are they able to do?
for me, because I think a lot of people try to take a lot of credit, because I have a mentor. Like everybody needs to have a mentor, right? So,
Right, yeah.
and I felt like with one of my mentors, she will, it will remain nameless. We're always used to accredit my success to her. And as I've become a mentor, I've realized that it's not about me. I'm just there to just guide that person guide that person to where they need to go in life, right?
Okay.
So I can sit down all day and have a conversation with you, but if you don't get up and you don't do that work that needs to be done, then nothing gets done. So
Exactly.
I would say personally, because I am very big-headed, I'm a little bit of a diva. So if I could take credit, I would take a lot of credit, right? But I always say to my, I always say to my mentees, it's not about me, right? This is about you. Like all I'm really there to do is get your plan together, get your mind together. Sometimes they tend to focus on something that's not meant to be, and I'm like, okay, is this the main thing? Is this what we're supposed to be focusing on? No. So to guide them back to where they need to be. So really, I'm just here as like I'm just a guide, because most people now that come to me, they're ready to make that step. They've probably tried a lot of other things and it's not worked out. So like when they get to me, it's like, okay, I've tried this and tried that. But I have to say that in life we are trained in our minds, I think, as well, going through the English education system. I don't know about anything else. It's like there's no margin for failure. If you fail, that's it. Like you get 3 chances, and then if you don't measure up, then that's it. But the thing is about life, we need to fail. We need to go through those lessons. Yes, you've tried everything and it doesn't work, but even I can give you advice and it might not even work. Because it worked for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Your path is your path.
Right. Yeah. Those are just the guy. So maybe you said this, but why did you start the Leadership Academy rather than something else?
Everything just kind of, it's just flowed, like, and everything is kind of happened by me capitalizing on my talents.
Okay.
So when I first started the FG, my brand, when I first started that's all like entertainment, right? And then we did like this massive African fashion show, which led into one thing, which led into another thing. So from there, we did like the Performing Arts Academy, which we're still working on. And then I did a documentary about, and it was called Colouring Outside the Lines. And it's telling Black and brown stories across China. And at that time, my mentor had said to me, like, why don't you just start, because I was always busy. And she was like, well, why don't you just start recording yourself? Like every time you have some downtime, just start recording yourself, right? So then I used to just do like these mini little daily devotions, not all the time, but like as I'm going around China for meetings or whatever. And then I decided that I wanted to do this thing called the Power Series, which was a 3-day weekend. and people would come, and there was like all these different speakers, like all these things. I set up the place, and then we didn't sell any tickets. I think we sold like one ticket.
Oh,
So
wow.
I had gone from like, yeah, I know, right? So I had gone from all this success, like doing really big things, teaming up with like one of my sponsors was like CIBE, which like #1 for beauty, and like, so I was like used to like, yes, I'm gonna do this, it's gonna work out. So when I only sold one ticket, and the woman that was the place, she's like, yeah, I'm gonna help you, Leeza. The night before, she was like, oh, no, I've not. So I was like, okay. So then the 3 days went down to 2 days. And at that time I was doing some corporate training, and they had said that, oh, we need you to work that weekend. I was like, I'm not going to work. So then I walked away from that, like that paycheck, because I believe so much in this. And then people were also telling me like, Leeza, why don't you just do? I was like, I don't want to do it like this. I need to do it like this. So then 3 days went to 2 days, went to 1 day. And then I was like, okay, we're just gonna go ahead and just, with this one person. And we just decided that we was gonna live stream. So then people could, from all over could like stream in, da 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 da. So I would like to say that that was a success, but it wasn't until after the guy had said, oh, no, we've not been like streaming. So I was just like, oh my God. So from that, this is how Power Series that was born from this, because I was like, okay, I know that now maybe China is in the market for leadership and changing their lives and personal development and this, that, and the other. But we'd already set up like Facebook pages and done all this other outside marketing. So from there, it's just kind of grown. I mean, it's not been like the easiest thing. I would like to say, yeah, it's been amazing, but no. So it did actually, the idea started from failure. But, look at.
All right. So I remember when we talked last week, you told me you had three different businesses here. Right. So one of them is the Leadership Academy. The other is DFG.
Performing Arts Academy. Oh yeah, DFG.
Okay. And the Performance
Arts. My little baby.
Okay.
And the Performance Arts Academy.
All right. Can you tell me more about DFG?
DFG, Destined for Greatness. This is the name that I had about 8 years ago, I think, or 9 years ago, maybe, was like my first company. It was like selling some little shoes or something online, I can't remember. But the name always stuck for me, and I can always remember, because I was always this kid that's always outspoken, like, and if you touch my family, I was only about 4'2", but I'd go for anything. And I always used to think to myself, like, there's more to life than just this little bubble. And like, growing up, the stuff that we see and that we normalize it. So like, I always felt that I was destined for greatness. And so I'll quickly tell you, like, I was working at this job, just over broke, and I was trying to climb up the ladders within that place. And I was like, I always like was going around thinking like, I'm too cool for school, my poo don't smell, like all that kind of stuff. I was this person. So I was going for all these jobs. So the job that I had, I was like, oh my God, I can do a lot better than this. Like, if they should be, they're paying me to be here. They should be happy that I'm here. So I tried to apply for these jobs. So I applied for like 9 interviews. Now, if you've ever been for 9 interviews after one after the other, at some point, right, I was like, yo, maybe I'm not like, maybe what I think in my mind, I am not that person, right? Because one or two, you could be like, oh yeah, okay, cool, right? Just keep going. But when you get to like 5 rejections, and and then one of my girls, bless her soul, I love her, no education, no nothing, went into a management position. When I was like, what? Okay, cool. So I kept on. Sorry.
It's okay.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah. So I was like, okay. So then by the 9th time, and I drove from the last interview that I went through, I drove from my home town in Nottingham to Manchester. It's about a 40-minute drive to go for this interview. I was like, yeah, I've got this one, blah, 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 blah. And then that was my rejection. I was like, okay, cool. This is what I'm going to do, because I've always thought that there was something bigger and greater within me.
Right.
So I was just like, okay, cool. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for 9 interviews outside of this company that I'm working at. And if I do not get any jobs from these, I'm going to sit down. I'm not going to do the business anymore, because I was still doing the business. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do this 9-to-5 job, drive to work the same way, come back the same way. I will surrender to the universe that I am not as great as what I actually think I am. And then the first job that I went for outside, I got. So I was like, that was to come to China. So I always wanted people to know that even when I had all my success in 2018, I was like, oh, maybe I should change the name. And then one of my friends was like, Leeza, not everybody's already great. There's always got to be someone that's reminded that your destiny is always going to be great. So this is why DMG is like the name. So carry people. A little bit personal, but you know.
Yeah. Very, very interesting. You know, that story reminds me of myself, because that happened to me. I had
9.
I don't know if it was 9.
Did you lose count?
I have lost count today. Yeah. I probably knew how many it was back then. I mean, it probably wasn't as many as 9. But it was at least 5 probably. Or I know I definitely applied to more than 9 jobs. I can tell you that.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is not even an interview. This is I get it.
Yeah. And this job, well, not the job that brought me to China, was the first job that I got. Maybe after a year and a half, I graduated from college. We call it college in America, university in the UK.
Yes.
You know, because like after I graduated from college, I did all this volunteer work. I worked for this company called AmeriCorps. I don't know if you ever heard of them. They're like the Peace Corps, but in America. So I did like 2 terms there, and then people were like, "Oh, you do 2 terms, and the jobs are gonna come in." Didn't happen. So went to a job fair, found this company called EF that I worked for 2 years in China, and the rest is history. Been in China ever since. And I've worked for maybe 3 or 4 different schools or companies since then. But yeah, dude, like that story right there resonates with me because just like you, I thought I was like very high, on my, standing very tall and stuff like that. I graduated from a good school. I did my volunteer work, everything like that. And then I was like, man, I should be getting like a really nice job with a really nice salary, yada, yada. And like, no, it didn't happen. Most jobs didn't even reply. So I was just like, oh, well, let me try this China thing out. And then, it worked. And so I've been here. Yeah. So, I think you're absolutely right. Your friend was right, because people are going to be destined for greatness. Not everyone's always great at the moment. But in the future, they will be. Absolutely. All right. So you're in Guangzhou right now.
Yes.
Have you only lived in Guangzhou in China?
Yes, right. Well, when I first came here, they sent me to Beijing, and I'm from the UK. We have snow all day, every day. Like, you know, it's cold and rainy, right? So when I landed so I was happy that when we finally got on the plane, because you know that China process is a little long, right? So when I was actually on the plane and was going, I was all excited. I landed in Beijing and it was snowing. It was so cold. I was like nearly
What
cold.
year? What year was that?
2016 December. Was it 2000? Maybe 2015, because it was December. It was December, and I've been here since 2016.
Because I came
So
in 2016 December to
yeah,
Beijing.
so I was 15
Okay.
going into 2016. So
Okay.
not going into 2017. But you guys count your years very different, so maybe the same time. And I was nearly crying. I was like, if they was gonna send me here, I was like, if I'm gonna have to stay here, I think I'm gonna have to get back on a plane and go home. But luckily, there was like, okay, no, you're stationed in Guangzhou, like we're in the army, but like your place, your center is in Guangzhou. So when I got to Guangzhou, I love the heat. Like my grandparents Jamaican, so you know those Jamaican boots. I was like, yes, I love it, I love it. So I've only been in Guangzhou, but I have been back to Beijing a few times on business, and I love it. I love the artsy kind of scene that they have up there. I do like.
Yeah, some places like the agriculture in some of the areas is really good, and then they have two sort of art scenes. One's like northwest and northeast part of Beijing. They're pretty cool. They're both like usually for university students though. But I've been to like art galleries and stuff like that, and sometimes it's really good. Um, for Chinese art sometimes, because sometimes Chinese art. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's bad, but like it's just not. Um, I don't know. I expect every time I see some art, I want to be like taken away by it. Like I want to like every piece of art that I'll see, but like it doesn't happen all the time with Chinese art and things like that.
But I think as well, the difference is like I don't want to be right. I'm just gonna say it. If you have to cut it out, cut it out. But with Americans, right? I don't know about now because you know you're president, but before that, you guys were like the standard for the world, right? Everything that
Yeah.
you do is kind of amazing, and then also you have to have like what your grandparents used to say to you that you have to be 10 times as better as everybody else, blah blah. That story as well. So
Right.
everything that you always do see and everything that we produce as people are always kind of amazing. I don't think that every other race has that same, every other country has that same drive to be excellent at all times. Some people still have that mindset of, okay, I do this because I like it and this will do, you know? But America has a different kind of black, white, pink, green, whatever. Like the Americans that I've come across and seen from what it shows to the world has a different standard. So you're expected to be blown away. That's just an expect. That's like, you know, when you go to the coffee shop, you expect there to be coffee. Like you Americans just expect
Yeah, that's a perspective I never thought about. Actually, I mean, you could absolutely be right about that. I mean, but for me, I don't honestly, I don't know how you felt about the UK, but for me personally, growing up in America, I just always felt black. I never really felt American until I came to China, and I had been abroad before, but like China, because China is so huge on nationality and things like that, and identifying themselves as Chinese and not really so Asian. So nationality is so huge here. So when I got here, I was sort of blown away, and I found myself, defending America like an American, doing things like an American. That like maybe I did those things at home, but I never really noticed it because when you're in there, when you're at home, things seem very different to you. But when you come out, you start seeing all the similarities and stuff like that. So like in terms of the art thing like that, like for me, like I don't know, like I just like to your point where you know you got to be the best and stuff like that. Like I think that comes to a lot of black people do that. You know, especially like if you're, you know, you grew up poor and you know things like that. Because we realize that we have to be the best in the room to be chosen for like almost anything. You know, we can't be second best, or you know, we can't be the one that slipped under the cracks. You know, because we won't be chosen, we'll be talked about, and all those things like that. So you know, I always expect the best. You know, even if I know it's not, even if I know I'm not going to reach it, my goal is to always, you know, be the best I can be the best I can, do the best things, buy the best things, you know, whatever it is, just because I want to be the best, and I don't think you can be the best without having some of the best, without having that mindset, kind of, you know. You know, and I don't know how the UK does it, but that's how
I
America.
think
Yeah.
I think when I was in the UK, because I was raised by my grandparents. So my grandparents are Jamaican, and so they always used to say to me, they was like, "You're British, right? Right, but you are black, right?" And but all the time when I was at home, I never used to say home. I always used to like say, "Yeah, I'm British. I'm not English. I'm British." Blah 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 blah. But I never felt, while I was there, I never felt like it was my home. But the same as you, when I left and I came to China, I can remember just having a conversation with someone. I was like, yeah, home. And I was like, why am I even calling it home when I was there? Wait to get out. And now I'm out, I'm calling it home. But I think what was different when I got here as well, like because the expat community is so small, like expats just gravitate towards each other. And I was finding that people that was white per se, that was from England, was more accepting that I was, oh yeah, she's British, even to the fact that last year I did something called like the British Day here. So I was one of the speakers. Now in the UK that would never happen, right? But here, I don't think amongst expats, I don't think that the colour thing matters to that, or it probably does, but everybody puts it aside because all we have out here is each other. So you know, like we're human. That's how it feels being here.
Absolutely. All right, so you moved to China in 2015.
But it's right. If it's 2015 and it's December, we're going into 2016, right?
Yeah. I'll say 2016 because I moved here in December in 2016. That's what year it was, you know? So that's the year I'm going to say. But I wanted to know, did you ever spend any other time else in another country?
No, this was my first time away from home. Like, obviously, I went to Jamaica because that's where my family's from, Barbados. Like, we went on holiday, but to go and pick up my stuff to say that I'm leaving to go anywhere, this was my first, this is my first place. And I think the difference is because this was my first place, anywhere that I go now, I will enjoy. For example, the people that I've spoken to, that I've lived other places and then have come here, cannot handle it. So I'm glad that this was my first experience outside. And even some people that come here and they're like, I can't do this, I need to go. You do need to be a certain kind of mindset to stay here.
China's a different beast, just because it's so different. And the fact is, I think China tries to be different. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But like, I used to help out the newcomers when I used to work for EF. I used to help out the company when the newcomers came in, and I used to tell them like, hey, dude, this is China. Things are very different. Things are not going to be very Western. Even though we're in Beijing, you're going to see very Western things. But for the most part, it's all of it. Even if it's Western, think like just for example, for Americans, when they go see Pizza Hut in China, because they're like all over China, it is not the same. Yeah. Like, just for an example, like Pizza Hut is not the same. Pizza Hut in America is like, I don't know. I don't even know how to say it. Like most of them are it's just like a fast food pizza restaurant. Like you go pick up your pizza, you order it online or whatever, and you take it back home. And and there's very few restaurants in America where you actually can go in and order a pizza and sit down and eat. But in China, these are all of them, and they're like supposed to be like 4-star, 5-star restaurants and stuff like that. But and the pizza is very different. They got rice pizza and all this other things like that, and Americans, well, I don't want to say Americans, people from big cities like Chicago, like where I'm from, and New York, and places like that have like, a very specific pizza, are sort of pizza snobs. And like China's like a place where you like cannot find great pizza at all. You cannot find great pizza.
I was gonna say, there is this place called Champion Pizza that we have in Guangzhou. They do quite okay pizza.
Oh, you'll find like 1 or 2 restaurants, but they're not like all over. I mean, like, there's a great pizza place in Beijing that's owned by an Italian man, and he makes great pizza with like a brick oven and everything like that. But like he only has 1 location. Yeah. So like you got like if you don't live in the center of the city, you probably aren't gonna eat his pizza all the time. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like they have a great Italian pizza place here in Chengdu where I live, and like I've probably only eaten there twice since I've been here. I've been here a year because I live so far away from it. Everything like that, and like and I still order pizza online. But like I get my amenities ready. I get a little spicy sauce. I get some ketchup. I mix it around because like the biggest thing about Chinese pizza is that like it's always a lot of dough and cheese, but there's no sauce in between. And like for a person like me, the sauce is what matters. Everything else is kind of like you really can't mess that up unless you put it in the oven for too long. But yeah, so like that's like one of the things I try to tell people is like, these things are very different. Don't knock it until you try it though. And some people will go, well, I want to live like this, I want to live like that. And I go, yeah, that's fine. But like, have you tried it? Have you, like I had a friend who did not she didn't want, the squat toilets and things like that. And me personally, I don't prefer a squat toilet, but I do know foreigners who do actually. After trying it a few times. And my point was, I'm like, you should actually try it before you say you don't want it. I mean, it's not what we're used to. I know it's like doing your business in a little hole or whatever or whatnot, but if you can find an apartment with a squat toilet and you're okay with that, you'll pay much less money than you'll find than one with like a Western toilet. But yeah, that's kind of like the things I would tell people. I don't know if you've ever had that experience or not in China.
I feel like when I came here, I was like, this was like a fresh start for me, right? Yeah. And the people that I met when I first came, absolutely amazing in the fact where they had said that where people go wrong is they try to, because the way that they live in China is not the way that they live back home, right? Some people that may not be able to get a girl back home, they come here and they are kingpins, right? That kind of thing, right? So
the white horse.
He was basically he was like saying to me that where people go wrong is if they try to live their Western lifestyle in China, right? Yeah. You just at some point you need to be able to
balance it, maybe
accept it for what it is and be open. And I can remember my first month being here, I'd walk out the door and there'd be so like, the thing is, in the UK, Humdrum, every day, everything's the same, right? There's nothing really changes. You can plan like this time next week, I'll see this person at 2 o'clock. It's very regimented.
Yeah.
But here, it's not like that. So my first like month, I was going outside and I would just see like the craziest thing, like on a push bike, and there'd be a whole family on a push bike.
Oh,
to the fact, like one day I
3
was
or 4
like,
people on one. Yeah.
I was like, I couldn't go outside because I was just like, my God, it's too much crazy stuff. You can't really plan anything. You can't really do anything. Everything's like different. And then when I let go of my Western mindset and was just like, okay, let me just go with whatever it is. I'm very more, it worked perfectly. Just more like, oh yeah, someone like peeing in the street. Okay, this is what we're doing today. You know, whatever. Just carry on, keep it moving, right?
God.
So,
That is what irks me the most. Like, I know we're trying to say, keep it modern and be open-minded, but that is something I can just not accept. Make me cringe when I see that. I was out with my girlfriend the other day, and we were in a mall. And this woman who's, she's not, we can tell, well, my girlfriend's Chinese, and so she can tell who is from the city and who's not. And she can also tell who's from like the north part of China, who's from the south part, who's from the western part, who's from the northeast part, and things like that. And this woman with her child, they were by themselves, they were eating their food, but the child was making so much noise. And we were like, oh man, how come, wow, she should just give this kid whatever he wants so he can like, shut up. And, we should have never said that to ourselves, because she got up, took the boy out basically like 20 feet away from us. There was this trash can, and she pulled the boy's pants down, and the boy started peeing in the trash can and things like that. And like, that's just an example. Like, I've seen worse than this. I've been in Shanghai before, and people from the city usually don't do this, no matter what city. If they're from a big city in China, they don't do this. But you see this a lot with like people who come from the smaller towns in China, where like they'll stop out and they'll be in a big city, and they'll just, especially when it comes to children, they'll just like pull the kids' pants down and just let them go wherever, and then they'll just keep it moving right after that. And I go, man, like how, like there aren't any rules about this, like, you look around at other Chinese people, because I'm like, I know I ain't the only one seeing this.
Am I the only? Yeah.
Am I the only one seeing this? And like, you look around at other Chinese people, you got like, it got to be somebody from the city around here, and like everybody's just like minding their own business. No one's saying anything, And I'm going, wow. Like, let this be America, dude. That woman, it's gonna be a fight,
But what I do like, especially when it comes to business, is kind of just sorry, but kind of what I do like is the attitude just to get things done. Now, it don't matter how it gets done, it just gets done. Sometimes I do find that there's some things that they like to double work and, all that kind of stuff. But if this is the deadline, and it's going to happen on this deadline, whether people are here or not. In the UK, we're kind of like, okay, is this going to work? No, maybe we should do this. Maybe we should re-strategize. Maybe we should, maybe we should prefer. No, like, this is the deadline. It's happening here. Let's make it work. Like, okay. Yeah, but that's one thing I do like about being here. Like,
this is true. Very strict upon deadlines.
Get things done.
Yeah, and in the business world, a lot of them are very detail oriented. Yeah, especially when it's about money.
Yeah, that's how we live, right?
That's how everybody lives, though. Yeah. But I want to ask you, before we get out of here, I wanted to ask you, because I remember when we spoke before, you told me you were married.
Yes, well, spiritually married. I need to do that legal part, but spiritually, yes.
Okay, no problem. I see. All right. But okay, so for you and your significant other, have you guys traveled together before?
No. We go to places, we go to a load of different places, but we haven't, because we met in China and then we've just been in China. Then, like, I'm a kind of person that, oh, do you want to go on holiday? Oh, no, blah, 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 working, blah, 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 whatever. So I'll be like, okay, let me just go by myself. Right? So I've traveled on my own, but we've not traveled together. And we tried to do the whole marriage thing, but now in China, they've banned marriages between foreigners. So unless I'm going to marry a Chinese and my husband is from Mexico, so that's not going to work. So we're just going to have to wait until Hong Kong opens, and then we'll go over to Hong Kong and get married. But the whole spiritual side of it, yes, it's all.
Okay. Your husband's from Mexico. Wow.
Yes, Latino. I love him.
Can you speak any Spanish?
I'm learning, right? I'm learning. I cannot speak. I'm trying to think. No, but I have a little app, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll teach you." And then we've just got as far as "I love you." That's all I know in Spanish. Like, I love you. I know. Apple, like, but yeah, this is something that we do need to get it down packed, because every time like he rings home to speak to his mom, she'll be like, hola, hola, that's it. Then that's how far as our conversation goes. So we're expecting our first child this year. So
is somebody got you? Okay, congratulations. I didn't know that.
Thank you so much. And I've always tried to do the headshot, so I still look pretty, you know.
Okay.
But, so this is one thing that was always important to me. Education is a very big thing to me. I think all Black children, their parents are like, education. I don't think this is a new thing. But I do want my children to be able to speak their Spanish as well as understand patois and whatever, and all those kind of things. I think is important. But I don't want my husband and my children speaking and I don't know what's going on, because I'm really nosy. And I think so that's the only thing. Even with Chinese, I was like, sometimes when things happen, I'm like, I'm glad that I cannot speak fluent Chinese, because I'll be cussing off a load of people, right? Right about now.
Well, but I'm not fluent in Chinese. I take Chinese lessons twice a week. So, but I'm okay, you know.
People that say that they're not fluent normally can hold.
No, I'm seriously not fluent. If I was fluent, I'd tell you, because I'd be so proud of myself. You know, my goal is to be fluent. So if I was already fluent, I would let somebody know. But I've learned, and this is not to like, you know, down anybody who's Chinese, because actually my girlfriend's Chinese. But when I'm not in a room with like my girlfriend or like her family and stuff like that, I tend not to tell people that I can speak Chinese, just to see if people are talking about me in a negative way. And like, maybe somebody won't like that because, you know, I'm trying to catch people. It's like, well, you know, I think I've learned over the years that, like, you know, if they're not willing to say it in front of you, or they're not willing to say it when you think you're listening, then maybe you shouldn't be doing things with those people. So like, that's kind of like my mindset about those things nowadays. Obviously, when I gotta go do business, I speak Chinese, but like, you know, every time I start a new job, I never let anyone know I can speak Chinese until it's too late. You know, because like
I feel like they will you do. I always hear like the locals, they will say, "Oh, look at that foreigner." So they always say that. I'm like, okay, why would you even say that? Like, because in the UK we don't, like, we see and that's it. You keep it moving, right? Like, but
I just like in America we don't even see foreigners because everyone's so different already. Like I was the other day, I was expressing my frustrations with my girlfriend because I was out. We have a dog. I was out walking my dog, and there was these 3 little boys. They couldn't have been no more than 5 years old, you know. And they're looking at me and I'm looking at them looking at me and everything like that. And I just go, oh, well, Chinese people stare because of foreigners. It's not going to change because of children. I've taught children here. So, so I go on, but I hear them talking and they go on lines of, oh, he's a foreigner and we are Chinese. Foreigners are not Chinese. Blah, 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 all these things like this. And in my mind, as a 5-year-old, I'm going, why in the world do you need to know? They said this in Chinese, but in my mind, I'm going, why in the world does a 5-year-old need to know the word foreigner? Like, like that just baffles me that like, of course, most people in China are Chinese, but like, that doesn't help. For me, that doesn't justify them needing to know that word, especially at such a young age, because like I don't think I knew the word foreigner until maybe like I actually had a real encounter with a foreigner. I mean, like I don't really remember when I started learning. I learned the word foreigner because like I didn't really meet anyone until I was like old enough to like distinguish that. Or to like deal with it in a very adult way. I would say that. But it just kind of sometimes it boggles me, and like a lot of foreigners, it boggles them as well. I don't know about you, but I always think about that. Like, why does a kid need to know that? Why do they need to differentiate that?
I don't think kids know, and I think with you, like I don't even realize that there was any difference with me for a long time. Maybe secondary school, and that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, you're black, you're white, whatever. But I never used to think the UK was diverse until I came here. I was like, okay, maybe there is a little bit of diversity there. But I don't think that children know, because when I first came here, I did work with small babies, Performing Arts Academy as well, very small babies. But I think the only difference is that the parents are international, can I say? Like the parents, they may have not, was educated outside. They do a lot of traveling, that kind of thing. So and they've come home, had their kids. But I don't think that the kids actually know. I think this is something that is told. It needs to be told to them. But how many times it actually really, when does it click? But I don't think they really know or really care until adults put their influence on it.
Well, yeah.
And I can remember one time, like, because all the kids in the centre loved me, run up to me, kissing me, all this kind of stuff. Like, I was like, in the UK, I don't know the distance and whatever, but, here, they don't care. Throw the baby at you, kiss my baby, take a picture, all this kind of stuff. And I think one day we was having a problem with one of the kids. And the parent was like, they was talking and they was like, oh yeah, it's because she's scared of your skin color. And I was like, yeah, but she sees all the kids like running up, kissing me. All the rest of the kids don't really care. Like nobody else, like we're all just having fun. That's what we're here to do. And then the mum was like, oh, I don't know where she would have got this from. Like, I really like you. I was like, well, where else? Like,
where
kids,
else should she get it from? Yeah.
Like, there's a mum and a dad and your aunt, your auntie, your grandparents. Like, there's somewhere in that household that has said something to her, because kids, they don't know. They haven't got a clue about, are you nice to me? Yes, and that's it. Even their forgiveness, like you tell them off, they're upset for like 2 seconds. After that, they've forgiven you, they've forgot about it, and they're off to play. So I don't think to embed that in a child for so long, I don't know if that's going to, in the future, if that's going to be a good thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But let me move on really quickly. So I know you said before you came to China, this is sort of like your first time going abroad, moving away. Since you've been in China, have you like just traveled to other countries for vacation or anything like that?
Yeah, because it's so cheap to do it over here. Like I've been to Bali, Philippines. I love Philippines, and then I've done like some little local things. I think it's Kweming, went to a few places there. So yeah,
Okay.
I haven't done loads, like as much as what I wanted to do. Because even when I was thinking that I was gonna go back home, I was like, oh, I wish I'd not worked so much. I wish I'd taken the opportunity to travel a little bit more. But I have been to like a few places, went to Thailand, those kind of places. Yeah,
Yeah,
and yeah,
most
a
people go to
little
those
bit.
places. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thailand's such a fun place. I recommend Thailand for like anybody to go. It's so fun, so relaxed. Um, but yeah, I wanted to ask, like,
Mm.
as a traveling, business minded Black woman, when you're traveling, how do you feel when you're out and about and traveling either in China or other countries?
Mm. I have a really, I think, crazy mindset. Like it's a little weird. Like when I first got here and people kept on running up to me and asking me for pictures, I felt like I was famous. So in my mind, I was like, I'm the sixth member of Destiny's Child. So when people don't ask me for a photo, I'm like, like I get kind of offended. Like I'll be sitting there ready. And the only one time someone else came up and I was like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And she wanted me to take a picture of them. So I was like,
Oh,
okay, that was a little disheartening. But I feel that it's like if you go out into the world and you think that people are against you, things are going to happen, these things will 9 times out of 10 it will show up. But my mindset every time I walk out into the world that everybody loves me, everybody wants to be around me. Now I do get a little bit shocked when people don't. I'm like, what? But then I think it's
okay.
their problem, not mine. But so my mind, so how I cope with it or how I do things is that in my mind, I feel like I'm the sixth member of Destiny's Child, famous. So if anything does happen, I normally think, oh, it's because I'm famous. So my
So you're a
mindset
little
is,
bit of you're just a little bit of a diva, okay?
and I think my husband would say a lot, yeah, but it's only I only have a little aspect of it.
Okay, absolutely, absolutely. All right, I want to move back into business really quickly, and because you got all these businesses, and we spoke before. You want to make a podcast? Just on
Yes.
the record, can we talk about your podcast really quickly?
Oh, now if I speak about it, it's gonna go from being an idea to actually it needs to
Yeah,
happen now.
that means you have
But
to do it, and I got to be your
yes,
first guest on
yes,
it.
you are my first guest. I have that in writing that you said yes, you're gonna be a first guest on it. Yeah. Sorry, what was your question about the podcast?
uh, just just uh, just give us a little the basic information about it, about
Okay,
what you're thinking it's gonna
so
be or whatever.
yeah, okay. So that what I am going to do now that I'm putting it out into the universe is the podcast will be based on DFG will still be the brand, and it will be reaching out to professionals, not just in China, because my platform is a global platform, across the globe. Now, I don't know if I'm just going to keep it to Black people specific. I don't know yet.
Okay.
Let's see what happens. Because when I started DFG, I was like, oh, it's just for Black people. And then Chinese people got involved, and loads of other people got involved. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, wherever it's going to go, it's going to go. But the main goal of it is our mission statement is to inspire people and to change people's lives. That's our mission statement.
Okay.
So I'll be reaching out to business people from different businesses, it could be education, it could be entrepreneurs, different businesses, for them to come on, maybe tell their story and give a little bit of inspiration. But it's going to
Okay.
be business based, so people that are looking to get into business, giving them like ideas how they can go about getting into business, not just in China. Maybe if I interview someone in Germany, how would Germany? If I interview something in the UK, how is it in the UK? The different things. So looking for those like business minded people to come
Okay.
together.
Absolutely. All right. I can't wait to be a guest on that show.
Yay!
So I can talk about my podcast.
Yes, you can
Yeah.
you can talk about whatever you like.
All right. Just so people know how to find you, can you just reiterate where people can get in touch with you, if you would like that or not, about how can they sign up for your Leadership Academy or your Performing Arts Academy and stuff like that?
Okay, cool. Let me think. I didn't even think of that part. So if you are in China, obviously I did say that my audience isn't really for China, but we do have like a WeChat page, official WeChat page. It's called DFG official page. They can go on that. Facebook, Power Series, and how else? If you want to add me personally, because we do have different other things as well that's going on that you might be interested in. My WeChat is it's Dr. Leeza Gordon, right? Beeza08, and Facebook, Leeza Gordon.
All right.
No, nothing. That's it. WeChat and Facebook.
WeChat and Facebook is fine. Yeah, I think that is great. Those are just enough.
I would give you my number, but I don't want the crazies ringing me.
No, because look, I don't get my number out either, so don't worry about that. And this is my show. Just last thing, I always let my guests get the last word, and so I want to ask you: do you have anything on your mind, on your heart that you want to say to the people listening?
Oh, I think I've said everything. I did a little daily devotion thing today, and I was talking about failing your way to success. And I think if there is anything that you want to do in your life, you're not always going to get it perfect. Like when I started out, I just started out with like an iPhone, a broken laptop, just start where you are and don't be afraid to fail, because each failure will lead to a success eventually.
Right. Okay. Those are perfect words. We're going to end right there. Remember, guys, I'm Eric Charles. This is Dr. Leeza Gordon, and that is the Black Book Podcast. I'm just on a mission. I'm trying to